I never planned to share this out loud, but some feelings become too heavy to keep inside. Welcome to Hidden Gay Tale. Moments we experience but rarely talk about. It all happened the weekend. My cousin's friend, Alex, stayed over at my place. We weren't close, just the people in the same house. Eating the same dinners, exchanging quick yo greetings in the kitchen, but that night felt different. The house was unusually quiet. Nothing else to do, we ended up sitting side on the couch, wrapped in the same blanket, pretending to watch a show neither of us was paying attention to. I tried not to think too much about how close we were sitting. I told myself it was just normal, nothing special. Then halfway through the second episode, Alex slowly rested his head on my shoulder. Just like that. No warning, no explanation. My heart jumped, but I didn't move. A moment later, his hand gently slid across my stomach, not in a romantic way, just a soft, comforting gesture. Like he needed some kind of reassurance. And then he hugged me, a real genuine hug, warm, steady, and meaningful. He held on like he needed someone to stay. And in that quiet moment, I didn't pull away. I just sat there, trying to understand what I was feeling. The silence between us was loud, but peaceful. After a minute, he whispered softly, "You're warm." His voice trembled just enough to tell me something inside him was hurting or scared. And something between us shifted, not in a dramatic way, but in the kind of way that makes you rethink everything you thought you knew. We stayed like that. For a while, breathing slowly, pretending the moment didn't mean anything. But I knew it did. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was worried, but because the moment kept replaying in my mind. The hug, his voice, the quiet comfort of it all. The next morning, I woke up staring at the ceiling, still hearing his voice in my head. "You're warm." Downstairs, I heard him moving around. It's a soft sound of cereal hitting a bowl, his socks sliding across the kitchen floor, and I realized nothing about last night felt normal anymore. It all sounded normal the next morning, like the night before hadn't changed anything at all. I finally pushed myself out of bed and walked into the kitchen. Alex was there by the sink, hair messy, wearing the same comfy gray shorts, looking half awake. He glanced over and gave a small, lazy smirk. "Morning," he said, like everything was exactly the way it had always been. I nodded back, grabbed a mug, and poured whatever coffee was left in the pot. Neither of us mentioned the moment we shared. Neither of us talked about the way it felt. The silence between us wasn't empty. It was thick, almost like pressure in the air. Every look lingered a little too long. Every tiny movement felt intentional, even when it wasn't. He leaned against the counter, arms folded, his eyes fixed on me with a strange calmness, like he was waiting for something he couldn't say out loud. "Sleep okay?" he asked. I took a sip. "Yeah, you." He shrugged. "Had some strange dreams?" I wanted to ask what kind, but I didn't trust my voice, so instead I said, "You hugged the blanket." He smirked. He could have pulled it back. Or just grabbed me instead. I looked up sharply. He was staring right at me, expression easy, but there was something softer hidden behind it. My stomach flipped, confused and curious at the same time. He stepped closer to reach for a spoon in the drawer beside me. He didn't need to lean in that close, but he did. His shoulder brushed mine for a second, and I stepped back, trying to look casual. He didn't comment, just gave another one of those almost smiles and walked out with his cereal. The rest of the day moved slowly. Quiet tension, small brushes of closeness. It's a kind of stillness that says a lot without making a sound. We didn't talk much. We didn't go anywhere. But somehow, we kept ending up near each other. Sharing space without touching. That night, he walked into my room without knocking. I was lying on my bed, scrolling through my phone, pretending my mind wasn't racing. "You still watching that dumb show?" he asked from the doorway. Yeah, I lied. He came in and sat on the bed beside me, too close in a way that felt familiar now. The same blanket from last night was folded at the foot of the bed. Without saying a word, he pulled it over both of us. "You cold?" I asked, trying to sound as normal as possible. "Nah," he said quietly. "Just feels better like this." I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. We stayed like that, silent, breathing almost in sync. Then his fingers brushed. Mine under the blanket, barely there at first, then again, until his pinky hooked around mine. I I didn't pull away. His hand rested gently on my leg, not pushing for anything. It's just a steady, reassuring weight that felt like he was asking a question without speaking. He leaned in slowly until his forehead touched the side of my face. He stayed there, not moving, not rushing, just close. The tension in the room stretched thin, like it might break with a single breath. His lips touched my jaw, soft, unsure. More a moment of courage than anything else. My whole body went still. "Julian," I whispered. He didn't move. "Just say stop," he said softly. "I will." I didn't say it. I couldn't, because in that moment, nothing felt wrong. His hand tightened gently where it rested beside me, and he lowered his head closer, his forehead brushing my shoulder again. All I could think was, why? Does this feel better than anything else ever has? Didn't go any further that night. No kissing, no crossing lines. But we also didn't move apart. We fell asleep like that, quiet, close, tangled in a way that didn't make sense for just friends. Deep down, I already knew this wasn't going to stop there. The next morning, he was already downstairs when I walked in. Shirtless again, sipping iced coffee. Scrolling through his phone like he hadn't spent half the night resting against me. I didn't know how to act, so I kept it simple. He looked up. "You sleep okay?" I nodded. "You," he smirked. I slept fine. Dreamed weird again, though, that smirk. It ruined me. I opened the fridge and grabbed a bottle of water just to keep my hands busy. "You remember anything from it?" I asked, not turning around. He paused. "I remember warmth." For a second, then leaned against the counter, pretending I wasn't overthinking every word. He set his phone down and walked past me, slow, deliberate, his fingers brushing lightly across my back as he went. He didn't say anything, just drifted into the living room. I stayed there, stuck between thoughts I wasn't ready to face. That night, it happened again. Same couch, same shared blanket, same soft stretched silence. But this time there was no TV, no noise, just dim lights and the hum of the fridge somewhere in the background. He sat closer than usual, so close our legs pressed together naturally under the blanket. So close I could feel the warmth of him without either of us trying. I didn't say anything. Then he broke the silence. "Can I try something?" My heart was already racing. Like what? "Just don't freak out." He leaned in slowly, carefully, and wrapped his arm around my back, steady, intentional. Before I could react, he guided me closer, not joking, not teasing, but clearly wanting the closeness to be real. I froze. I ended up sitting right against him, his arms firm around me, holding me like he was afraid I might disappear. His breath warmed the front of my shirt, his forehead resting just below my collarbone. And yeah, I could feel the tension in that moment. "No hiding this time, Julian," I whispered, my voice unsteady. "I know," he said softly. "You don't have to do anything." He looked up at me, and what I saw in his eyes wasn't anything reckless. It was neat. It was longing. It was fear. The kind you get when you care too much and don't know if it's safe to admit it. I didn't move. I didn't pull back. I stayed right there, my arms settling loosely around him as his hands rested calmly on my sides. The moment stretched between us. He closed his eyes and leaned into my chest again. "This feels better than anything." "Oh," he whispered. "Just this. I swear." His voice cracked at the end without thinking. My fingers ran lightly through his hair. And that broke me a little, not because of anything physical, but because this wasn't about anything like that anymore. He was holding me like I made him feel safe, like I was home. We stayed like that for what felt like forever. And yeah, I could feel him close, steady, real, but I didn't move. Because even with all the questions spinning in my head, this moment felt honest. When I finally stood, he didn't pull away. His hand slid gently along my side, like he didn't want to let go. I didn't say anything, but when I looked back, he gave me a small, quiet smile. "I'll be here if you want more," he said softly. Then he settled back under the blanket and turned away. I went upstairs with my heart pounding. Not from fear. A part of me already knew I did want more, and I didn't know how to stop. The next day felt too normal. I acted like nothing had happened, like the night before hadn't existed, like I hadn't sat close to him, felt the steady rhythm of his heartbeat, or shared that quiet, spoken closeness. But that only made it worse. Every time our shoulders brushed in the hallway, every small, accidental touch, my body remembered everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. Too many thoughts. Too many feelings under my skin. I lay on the bed, scrolling aimlessly through my phone, shirtless under the sheets. Around 2:30 a.m., I heard the soft creak of my bedroom door. I didn't even need to look up. I already knew it was him. "You up?" His voice was low. I just nodded. He stepped in slowly. No fear in his face this time. It's just something quiet, steady, determined. He sat beside me on the bed, careful not to disturb, and rested his head lightly against my shoulder. I didn't breathe. My heart was racing. I couldn't think. I couldn't move. "I'm not going to do anything you don't want," he whispered. "Just let me stay here a minute." His voice trembled slightly. I nodded. He stayed close, pressing gently against me, solid and steady, just sitting there, breathing together. I felt everything, every shift, every heartbeat, every small movement. He was tense, and so was I, but he didn't push anything further. He just stayed there, needing closeness, needing to feel someone near. His voice came softly against my shoulder. "Do you hate me for this?" The question hit me in the chest. "No," I whispered back, barely louder than a breath. He didn't answer. He just rested closer, pressing gently against me. I ran my hands lightly along his back, feeling the tension ease slowly. Then I felt it, the quiet tremble of his shoulders. He was crying softly, silent tears I could feel on my shoulder. "I don't know what's wrong with me," he whispered. I held him tighter. "Nothing's wrong," I said. "We were just figuring it out." He didn't respond, just lay there, holding on to me. Minutes passed, maybe longer. Eventually, he sat up and looked down at me. His eyes were glossy, but steady. "I want to be closer to you," he said. I stared at him for a long second. It felt like the most honest thing anyone had ever said to me. Then, "Be here with me," I whispered. He leaned in slowly, paused just a breath away. We touched foreheads gently, careful, close. His hands rested lightly on my sides, as if he was afraid I'd drift away, and for the first time my whole body went quiet. Not because I was confused, but because I wasn't. We didn't go further that night. We didn't need to. But in those few moments I felt more warmth, more ache, more truth than I had felt with anyone else. And the scariest part? I didn't want it to end. The next day felt different. Not awkward. Not forced. Just softer. He made breakfast. Didn't say much. Just slid a plate in front of me and mumbled, "Don't let it get cold." I couldn't stop smiling. He caught me looking and smirked. "What?" "Nothing. It's the eggs, isn't it?" "I used too much pepper." "Nah," he laughed. "Just weird waking up not hating you." A real laugh. The kind I hadn't heard in months. We didn't talk about last night or the closeness we shared, but it was there in every glance, every pause, every brush of our shoulders. Later that night, I lay on my bed, lights off, scrolling, trying not to think about him, and failing. Then a soft knock on my door. "It's open," I said without looking. He stepped in slowly. Same quiet look in his eyes. "You busy?" he asked. "Nah." He walked over, didn't say anything else, just settled on the bed beside me, lying on his side facing me. "Can I ask you something?" he said after a minute. "Yeah," I whispered. He hesitated, then said it quietly, unsure, but clear. "Do you ever think about me?" "Like that?" My breath caught. He wasn't joking. He wasn't trying to be bold. He was asking if it was safe to care. "You mean, here with me?" I asked. "Yeah." He looked at the sheets, then back at me. "I don't want to feel alone when I think about it." My chest ached. Not because it was shocking, though it was, but because it felt honest. This wasn't curiosity. This was him asking if I could hold space for something he couldn't name. I nodded. "Yeah, you can." His whole body softened. He rolled onto his back beside me, blanket pulled halfway over his legs. He reached for my hand, lacing our fingers together. My heart cracked a little. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't saying much. Just breathing slow, steady, thumb brushing over mine like he needed to know I was still there. "Can I think about you?" He whispered. I swallowed hard. "Yeah," I said. "I already am." His grip tightened slightly. His breathing shifted, uneven, unsteady, but not careless. Like he was letting go of something heavy. Like he was safe. After a while, he turned toward me, eyes glossy. Chest rising and falling. "That's the first time it ever felt right," he whispered. I didn't know what to say. So I just pulled him closer, wrapped my arms around him, and let him rest his forehead on my neck. We fell asleep like that again. Close, warm, together, and I knew. I was already too deep. I woke up alone. No arms around me, no warmth behind my back, no slow, sleepy breathing beside me, just cold sheets and the faint sound of movement downstairs. I checked my phone. 12 a.m. Our parents weren't supposed to be home until tomorrow. I sat up, rubbed the sleep from my eyes, still feeling the ghost of last night lingering on my skin. His hand in mine. The way he looked at me like I made him feel safe, like he finally saw himself in someone else. I threw on a hoodie and went downstairs. He was in the kitchen, packing his gym bag. He looked up, paused for a second, then gave a half smile. "Hey," I stared at him. "Where are you going?" He zipped the bag shut. "Just back to my mom's place." My stomach dropped. "I thought you were staying the weekend." He shrugged, eyes on the floor. Plans changed. I leaned against the counter. "Because of last night?" I asked. He paused. Didn't answer. "Alex, don't do that." Still nothing. "Don't act like it didn't mean something." He finally looked at me. Everything was in his eyes. Fear, guilt, longing, sadness. "It did," he said quietly. "But that's the problem." I stepped forward. "So you're just leaving?" He shook his head. "I'm trying not to mess you up." "You didn't," I said. He looked at me like he didn't believe it, then looked away. "I didn't mean to get that close." "I swear." "Then why did it feel so real?" I snapped, his jaw clenched. His hands tightened on the bag strap. "Because it was," he said, voice small. "And that's what hurts the most." It wasn't denying it. He wasn't saying it was a mistake. He felt it too. And he was still walking away. I closed the distance. "So that's it? You just leave?" He glanced toward the door. "It's easier this way." "For who?" I asked. He didn't answer. I reached for his arm. He flinched, not because he didn't want me to, because he couldn't handle being touched right then. "Alex," I began. He stepped back. "Don't make this harder. It's already hard." He blinked, looked down, then finally said, "If I stay, I want to keep doing it. Keep holding you. Keep letting this mean something." "It does mean something," I said. He walked toward the door. I couldn't move. He opened it, paused in the frame, and looked back one last time. "You're the only person who's ever made me feel okay being this way," he said. "Then stay." I pleaded. He hesitated, shook his head barely, and whispered, "I'd ruin it." Then he walked out. No hug, no goodbye. No, look back. I stood there a long time, staring at the door. Not crying, not moving. Just stuck in the silence and the ache and the memory. I couldn't explain it to anyone. Putting it into words felt impossible. All I could say was this: he held me like I was the only thing that felt right. And then he left like none of it had happened. I still sleep on the same side of the bed, hoping he'll come back. If you've ever loved someone you thought you shouldn't, share your story in the comments. If you liked this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I've got more coming.